Hi and welcome to another LRCC Soundbite. This week, as I continue telling you about some of the things that Jesus said that were recorded for us by a man called Luke that we can now read in the Bible, we get to talk about food again. Yes, it seems like a recurring theme and I do enjoy a good meal. This story this week, it's about more than just a good meal. It's about a great banquet, a feast, so much food and probably lasting quite some time. Jesus told this story while he was at a meal himself. It had been put on for him. He was the guest of honour and the after-dinner speaker. And as he was finishing what he was saying, one of the guests said, "You know, the best thing ever will be to go to the banquet that will be in heaven." Sounds good to me. I can only imagine what a banquet in heaven would be like. It would have the very best of everything. And with a bit of luck, no calories. Anyway, Jesus then told a little story about how a man once put on a great banquet and invited lots of guests. When everything was ready, he sent his servants to bring the guests in. But one after another, the people that he'd invited started to make excuses and didn't come. One said he'd bought some land and wanted to go and have a look at it. Another had bought some oxen to work on his land and wanted to go and try them out. Yet another said, "Oh, I've got married, I can't come." So when the man heard about all this, he was actually really angry with the people he'd invited and told his servant to go and do something completely different instead. He told him to go into the streets and find everyone that he could find there. The people that were never invited to things, the people who were unloved, the people discarded by society. Go and find them, bring them in, let them enjoy this amazing feast. It would be very different. But it would be an amazing time and very joyful for all those people. You know, there's been several different suggestions about how we could interpret this story. And to be honest, I think those interpretations tend to change depending on the point that people want to make, maybe using it against one group of people or another. But instead, I want to give you something a bit different to think about. I want you to think about this story in relation to commitment. If you're invited to something and accept the invitation, do you go through with it or do you pull out later? You know, I think we've all been in situations where people have let us down. We maybe thought people were coming, but they didn't. You know, through this pandemic, I remember hearing that when restaurants first started to open, you know, about the time of Eat Out to Help Out, that some people would book 3, 4, 5 different restaurants all at the same time. And then decide at the last minute which one they decided then they wanted to go to. The others were left empty with nobody at the tables. And, you know, is that right? Maybe sometimes we've been asked to do something, but then another offer comes along and we decide to do that instead. Christian faith is a big thing. You know, it's about changing your life from now until forever. Literally. Commitment is not always easy for people to get their heads around, even for small things like going out for a meal. How much different is it when that commitment is forever? Jesus came and changed the world forever and invites us to be a part of that changed world. If you find that a bit big and a bit daunting, do feel free to get in touch. I'd love to talk to you about what it means. But this week, just think about what are the things you commit to? And do you go through with them? You know, it's good to be known as someone who sticks by the things they've said they'll do, regardless of whether something better comes along later. God bless you. I'll see you next week.